Hi, today I'd like to talk about the history and theory of the Bear defense. This is Coach Paul Alexander, veteran NFL coach, offensive line coach of 26 years. And I was around right when this defense was starting to become popular. I was coaching in college at the time. Buddy Ryan was the architect of the defense, the 46 defense, the Bear defense. It's called the Bear defense, but today I want to point out one thing right here on Coach Ryan's shirt. It says the Chicago Bears. For years, I've always called this the Bears defense. It makes sense, but he coached for the Bears. He didn't coach for the Chicago Bear, but the defense he invented has, through the years, been known as the Bear defense. So sometimes I call it Bears, sometimes I call it Bears. You'll know what I mean. But Buddy started the defense, in the late 70s as a way to generate pass rush on the quarterback and clog up the middle of the running game. And it was very effective to the point that in 1985 he had one of the best defenses in the history of football, maybe the best. They led the NFL in 7 defensive categories on their way to a monstrous victory in the Super Bowl. Why was it called a 46? Not because there's 4 defensive linemen and 6 linebackers or anything like it would in a 3-4 or a 4-3 or a 4-2, but Buddy used to name his players by their jersey number. And Doug Plank, number 46, was a player who came down in the box. He was a strong safety, and he aligned like a linebacker in this defense down to create an 8-man front inside the box, which was very unusual because typically safeties inserted outside of the box. But by putting the safety inside the box, that really confounded the blocking schemes at that time. So the Bear front, here are the trademarks. Number 1, the center and both guards are covered. I like to refer to that as a triple, meaning all 3 guys are covered. That is, you have to have a triple to be a Bear defense, to be a Bear front. That's one of the first elements. And the second element is you need to have 2 guys on the tight end. All right, one guy is choked up in man-to-man coverage, and the other guy is a rush guy on the outside. So you have a triple and a 2 guys makes a Bear front. The defense, 90% of the time or more, is cover 1, bump and run man-to-man, meaning the corners are up there tight and they're jamming the receivers, knowing that they're going to get a 5-man pressure. They're going to rush all 5 of these guys right here and create quick pressure on the quarterback. So the bump and run is designed to knock them off their routes and force the ball to be thrown quickly. And the Bear front, as you can see, it had many strengths to it. All right. Number 1, it clogged up the middle. It clogged up the middle. It made it hard to run up inside the defense, hard to run outside off tackle because there was an extra edge player there, and anything to the strong side made it very difficult because they had 4 defenders to the strong side, and they basically had you outnumbered on most running plays to that side. The other thing it did is with the 5 rushers, it put tremendous amount of pressure on the quarterback at all times. Not rushing with 3, not rushing with 4, but 5 rushers. What that does is it brings a lot of pressure and a lot of heat. And by bringing 5, it isolates all 5 of these guys typically on the 5 offensive linemen who have to block them. And that stretches everybody out, in particular the center. Back in that time in history, as I remember, there was basically a rule that you never put the center one-on-one on the nose guard on a pass because he had to snap the ball and block the guy, which we felt was too difficult. But this defense virtually forced you to, because your only other option would be to put a running back on one of the outside rushers and turn everyone else back to help double team on the nose guard with a center, but then that puts you in a terrible mismatch with the running back on the outside linebacker. The last thing it did is in the cover 1 pressure, they were able to buzz people out from the inside to double team receivers, or they could use a safety to double team a safety either way, a receiver either way. I remember that 46 meaning a jersey number, because I remember playing against Buddy Ryan once, and I was told that he called his defenses by jersey numbers. We had Johnny Mitchell, who was a tight end, and he was number 83, and there were defenses where he wanted to double team Johnny Mitchell, number 83. So he called it the 83 defense, and that is just the way he did it. So I had a pretty good history against the Bear defense. Number one, I believe you can run the ball on the Bear defense. I do not subscribe to the theory that you have to pass versus the Bear. In 1995, it was a while ago, Corey Dillon was a rookie, and he broke an NFL record, a record set by Walter Payton, by running for 246 yards and 4 touchdowns on a Bear defense. Jeff Fisher was the head coach, and he was an assistant for Buddy Ryan, played for Buddy Ryan, and he ran the Bear defense. And I'll never forget, at that time, Boomer Esiason was our quarterback, and going into the game, it was a fairly complicated game plan. I remember Boomer saying before the game that he said, my God, we'll never be able to do it. It's too complicated. But what we really did is, instead of blocking people who they were by position, we blocked them who they were by alignment, which was very different in that time. Because like I said, they inserted the safety inside the box. Well, old-fashioned rules would tell you, that the line is a Sam on the mic and a Will on a play, and the receiver has a safety, and blah, blah, blah. And that confounded all the rules because the safety was inside. But in that game, we basically recounted the defense, which seemed very unique at that time, and it was very effective as Corey ran for 246 yards in that game against the Bear defense. Well, 5 years later, we played an 8-man front. And an 8-man front is similar to a Bear defense. It's the spacing in the middle isn't the same. But the 8-man front, we broke a rushing record, an NFL rushing record, 2,000 yards. He broke Corey Dillon's record. In fact, back here in 1995, I misspoke. He broke Jim Brown's record. And then in the year 2000, he broke Walter Payton's single-game rushing record, rushing for 278 yards. And what was more amazing about that, running against the 8-man front, is in that game, we ran for 407 yards. And it was the most rushing yards ever in the NFL in over 50 years. Well, that was a long time ago. Well, here's 2016. All right, 2016, we're coaching against Buffalo. The head coach of the Buffalo Bills is obviously Rex Ryan, who obviously runs the Bear defense. And as you can see it, we're audibling to one of our plays. We had many plays against the Bear defense, but there's ways that you can outnumber them by formation and run against their fronts. As you can see here, it's a Bear defense, right? It's a triple. There's 3 guys down inside, and there's going to be 2 guys outside the tight end. You can see an audibles happening, and you can see there's too many guys over here, it looks like, and they're talking. They think, oh, geez, it's going to run over here, but there we ran that play. This was literally the single snap, the only snap of Bear front that Rex Ryan played against us that day in Buffalo. And we had a reputation of being able to run the ball very good against the Bear. And it was probably the game, I would guess, I don't know for sure, but I would guess it's the only game in Rex's career that he only called 1 snap of Bear. And after that walk-in touchdown, we didn't see it again. Well, here it is in 2018. All right, we're getting even more modern. And here's the Bear front. And I'm going to show you the same play. All right, we're coaching against Detroit, who's running a Bear front, and there it is for yardage. So the point of me showing you those plays and making some of those statistical observations is that don't be afraid to figure out how to run the ball against the Bear. Because whenever you play a Bear defense or any 8-man front, when you've got everyone piled up in the box, once you break the line of scrimmage, it's a home run. You've got 1 guy to miss, the safety. So if you want big, long runs, hope for 8-man fronts.